Yo, hey, what's up, everybody? So, recently I made that Blood the Necro build video, and I got a lot of I had I had one comment. All right, let's just be real. I had one comment, which, by the way, if you like what you're watching, you should like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm going to continue to do Diablo content, and I'm also going to create content around like how to edit and how to do other things. So it'll be a lot more than just Diablo. But for now, we're in Diablo, right? And so I had a guy ask if I could do an actual like necro build around minions. So I looked into it. This is the look of him now. So scary. So I looked into it, and yeah, I spent some time trying to figure it out, which was actually a lot more difficult than I thought it would be. In part because I was already like 62, and I had already actually done the capstone dungeon, and trying to figure out a new build without the gear to go around it was a bit more difficult than I thought it would be. But we got there. So this is where I'm at right now. I will say, I think for summoner builds, for your minion builds in Diablo 4, they've already said in the Fireside Chat video that they're going to be doing buffs to Necro, and I can see why, because it is very hard, at least so far for me, it's been very hard to pull damage, get enough damage from my minions that I don't have to really come in there and supplement. And so the way I ended up getting this build to work, well, one, the Paragon board helped a lot, especially this this exploit glyphs socket. If y'all don't know about this, like if you have exploit, I'd put it in on your first one. It is ridiculous. The additional bonus there, dealing damage to a vulnerable enemy, increases your damage by 1% for up to 6 seconds, which is up to 10% on a vulnerable enemy, which you already have a bunch of vulnerable pieces and a lot of gears that drop. It's pretty ridiculous. And not only that, but it causes you to just deal vulnerable damage, right? For every 5 dexterity purchased within range, you deal 1.6% increased damage to vulnerable targets. So it's a very good glyph. I recommend it. And then on top of that, I've got the Cult Leader legendary node and the Infused Warrior rare node. But all that to say, yeah. So I went and came in and started looking, and in order to really get these minion builds to work, for me, Sever was huge. Okay, so Sever is what I was using to generate the DPS that I felt like I needed in order for this to actually work. And we'll go ahead and show this off after we get done talking about it. Let me see where I want. I'm in World Tier 4 right now. So maybe we'll just run out. We'll just run out in the world and kill things. Because I'm 62, right? So I'm in World Tier 4 and I'm 62. So you can actually see that it does work well enough that I'm under level and it's still working. So what is it? How did I do it? All that good stuff. So I'd spec into Decompose first. Obviously you have to. I just did 1, 1, and 1. So for Decompose, it's a good ability that I just kind of use when I'm running out of essence, or trying to build back essence. And as well as that, when an enemy dies, when they're decomposed, you get essence back. And then you and your minions will deal 10% bonus damage to enemies who have been decomposed. And that's this last one, is Acolytes Decompose. So your first 3 points, put them in Decompose, Enhanced Decompose, and Acolytes Decompose. And then when you move into the second tier, you're going to want to go ahead and go into Sever. Sever is what I'm using to assist my minions in their DPS. So go ahead and put 1 into Sever, 1 into Enhanced Sever, and then 1 into Paranormal Sever. And this is an interesting one. I've gone between these two a lot. Supernatural Sever actually deals 2% increased damage for each minion you have upon cast. And when you have a full minion build, especially with some gear, you can have a bunch of minions out on the field. But I found being able to guarantee vulnerable a full stack of enemies every 4th cast of Sever, and I'm just spamming it, ended up, for me, feeling like a lot more DPS. But that might also be tied to the Paragon board and the bonuses I have on vulnerable right now. So 1, 1, and 1, and then you're going to move down into your Corpse and Macabre skills, and I went ahead and went right into Skeletal Warrior Mastery to increase the damage and life of your Skeletal Warrior. I put all 3 into that. And then when I came down into curses, I've also jumped in between Iron Maiden and Decrepify. I even used them both during one time. I was just using both just to see. And Decrepify constantly seems to be the best one, with the ability to slow, cause a crowd control effect, and the ability to get the damage reduction on the enemies that are attacking you. Excuse me. This is the biggest thing that I've had a problem with, and I still do. I am under level. I'm 10 under level in World Tier 4, but I still have had a huge issue with getting a one shot. So I'm still pretty squishy, but this helps. So I would go into Decrepify, put one into Decrepify, put one into Enhanced Decrepify, and then go ahead and put one into Horrid Decrepify. You can honestly go either way with this. If you're feeling you have a cooldown problem, you can go ahead and do Abhorrent, because it's pretty good. You get a 15% chance to reduce your active cooldowns by 1 second, meaning you can get back things like your ultimate a lot quicker. But I went into Horrid because this idea, the essentially lucky hit that you get of having people instantly get killed, is actually, it's pretty damn good. For your third tier, I have nothing. I'm not using any of these. I tried using these darkness skills to spec more into darkness, but I really wanted to lean into minions. So instead I just went right into Necrotic Carpus, which is going to have, when you or your minions form corpses, it'll fortify you. So I'm trying to get some defense here. Now, however, this is also a point where if you're not feeling like you're doing enough damage, because remember, I started this already at World Tier 3. I mean, at World Tier 4. So if you're feeling like you're having damage issues, I would back all the way back up with the points you're getting and go ahead and fill up Sever. Every time you feel like it's like, this isn't working, why did I listen to this dude, screw this video, put points into Sever. Sever is going to be the ability you're going to have it all the way up. All 5 points are going right into Sever. So if you're feeling some DPS problems, back up and go ahead and take Sever as high as you can. And when we get into our ultimate skill, I've jumped in between Bone Storm and Army of the Dead. Army of the Dead is just the way to go. And especially if you're doing a minion build, because if you're having issues where there's no corpses on the ground, you can throw Army of Dead and you've got your full suite of guys. And I almost spec'd out every single one of the passives for the skeletals, but I did that at the end. So you'll come here, go Army of Dead, go Prime Army of the Dead, and Supreme Army of the Dead. And then for your final key passive, use Kalen's Edict. For a while, I switched to Shadow Blight because I have, where is it? I have a very good modifier on one of my gears. It's right here. You deal 50% increased damage for 6 seconds after the Shadow Blight key passive damages enemies 10 times. So, but until I got that, I was running Kalen's Edict. So those are your suite of abilities. Now, once you have that, you're going to use your extra points to spec into all of these passives. Go to every single skeletal passive and throw them in. Go into Golem Mastery to increase the damage of your Golem. Go into Bonded in Essence, because you can use your Skeletal Priestess to heal. My minions stay alive. My minions are tankier than me. Do Inspiring Leader, right? So that after you've been healthy, they get attack speed. That attack speed is really nice. The faster they attack, right, the more damage they're going to end up doing. This one, the Hellbent Commander, I don't have at 3. I'm not a huge fan of it because I'm not always with my minion. So, and then same here, go back to Necrotic Carpus, which I want to get to 3, so I can get the full Fortify amount. Skeletal Mage Mastery, which is going to increase the damage in life, right? That's a given. Death Reach and Death's Embrace are both good because close enemies will take more damage, and further enemies will just, because you're everywhere in this build. I am, at least. I'm up close or I'm far away. So I went ahead and spec'd into both of those. I would also go ahead and take Grim Harvest up to 3. You're going to be, obviously, right, consuming corpses to generate more skeletons, so it'll generate you more essence, so you can just spam the crap out of Sever. And same thing for Fuel by Death, because as you're picking those corpses, you will get 6% increased damage. And again, Skeletal Warrior Mastery, all these skeletal abilities, all these like cute little light blue ones, run in and pick them up, right? Okay. Now, before we start, I will say, if you are doing this build, you are doing a summoner build and you are very frustrated, I hear you. feels really weak, and I think that is right now because one, it needs to be buffed, and two, it is like really dependent upon your gear. Like you need these gear pieces that have the increase your number of skeletal warriors. You need the Shadow Blight one, helps me out a lot. You're gonna want things like dealing damage to the enemy gives you a barrier, because again, I'm for whatever reason I'm very squishy right now. Maximum number of skeletal mages increased by 2. You just want to flood the field with as many mages, with as many minions as you can, and that's going to be tied to your gear. Critical strikes from Sever have a 20% chance to spawn a pool of blight under a target. Like all of these things are what makes it work. It's what is helping it work for me. Your skeletons gain an increased damage while alive, up to 27% after 10 seconds. This is almost a god roll of that, which is kind of a bummer. I should have waited, but that's whatever. After decompose spawns a corpse, gain an 11 essence. While Army of Dead is active, your minions gain 132% attack speed and take 135% reduced damage. These things like are what literally fuel the ability to even use this. So if you're feeling frustrated, you might want to switch off to something, or really just again spec into Sever and let that and ride that while you work to get the gear pieces needed to, you know, feel powerful, feel like this is working, right? So like right now I can use Army of the Dead to go ahead and bring everybody in so we can, you know, we can get this party started. And again, this is Torment, tier 4. All these enemies, right, are above my level. So this does work. This clearly works. It's 73 and I just like melted that dude, right? And again, it's all just tied to the ability to make these guys vulnerable, and then the passives that I have rocking to increase the damage output as much as I can to my minions. And then I just ride them, you know, I just let them do their thing. I started out with the Golem using the Iron Golem for the vulnerability that he put on. But once I figured out I could do that with Sever, I actually went with the Blood Golem for the increased damage. So for my minions, I'm using Reavers. I'm using the first tier for the enemy for the attacks against enemies who have crowd debuffs on them. They do more damage. I'm using the cold mages to shoot to freeze. It really helps. Skeletal mages cold really helps, and they also generate essence for me. And I'm using the blood golem that, while healthy, gains a 25% damage reduction and a 50% damage bonus. Right. So essentially, what we've got going on here, my minions are buffed as much as I can make them tied around the curse I'm always using, right? As I'm doing bonus damage to enemies who are cursed, and I'm doing bonus damage to enemies who are slowed, and I'm doing bonus damage based on the health of my minions. So that's why I've got them as tanky as I possibly can, so that lasts for as long as I can. And then I'm helping by staying away from a distance, consuming corpses, to increase my output, and using Sever and Decompose, right? I'm decomposing all these enemies with cold act, super, and then I'm running in and spamming Sever, right? I mean, I'm just like literally spamming Sever, and I'm not running out of, I'm getting close, but the moment you're almost out, you can just throw Decompose back on, and you're good. And this could easily end up becoming an incredible build, depending on what's getting buffed. And I think it's supposed to be buffed by season 1. So I'm gonna actually hold on. I still have all the gear pieces for my Blood Necro build that I was working on. I actually got some newer ones, and I've switched it. So anyone who has watched that video, I'm now actually using Bone Storm. It's very helpful. And I'll do a new video on that probably when season 1 starts, because I have new pieces for that, and I've really found, I think, a way to make it even more powerful, which is awesome, because it was already pretty ridiculous. So again, yeah, this is all just minions, and all my minions are just doing all the work here. The key thing I found with these is to keep your distance, watch your health, maintain good essence, spam Sever, make sure you're also keeping in mind of your cooldown so you can use your Golem ability, and also keep up your curse, because you're just gonna want to make sure you maintain all of these debuffs, right? And these are bigger enemies right here, right? We got a nice elite going on here. We got all sorts of stuff happening, and you can already see I'm like talking and not paying attention to my minions, right? So I'm down quite a bit, so I'm gonna be down quite a bit again. So you want to maintain all of that. But the nice thing is the golem, my golem, right, is still kicking and staying alive for as long as he can, and I'm still outputting enough damage that if you lose your minions, especially when you're doing these higher tier things, it doesn't cost you, right? I'm not done. I'm not done and out. That's my daughter that you hear in the background. She's hilarious, and she's right here next to me. But anyways, that's actually a good cue for me to stop. I think that's enough. So yeah, thank you so much for this. If you have any questions or you want to see something else, leave it in a comment. If you liked what you watch, you should 100% like and subscribe. I'm gonna keep making these videos, and yeah, if you think I could do something better, let me know. And if I talk too fast too, let me know, because I feel like I just tore through this. But hopefully this answers any questions on where you can get with a summoner builds, and this is very much a summoner darkness, really just summoner Sever, with using darkness to debuff and curses to debuff. I'm Hitman BK. I'll check you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Later.